the hands that remember. Kofi's world had become very quiet after his parents went to be with the ancestors. Now he lived with his Uncle Kwame in a small house where the silence was as heavy as the humid afternoon air. In his pocket, Kofi always kept his greatest treasure, a small, smooth wooden bird his father had taught him to carve. Uncle Kwame was a man whose smiles were rare. He came home from the fields with dust on his brow and a storm in his voice. "The water buckets are not full, boy," he would shout, even if Kofi had just filled them. "Go and fetch more before you eat." His words were like sharp stones. Kofi found his comfort in pieces of scrap wood. With his father's old carving knife, his small hands would slowly turn a block of mahogany into a leaping antelope or a wise-looking tortoise. While he carved, he could almost hear his father's gentle voice, and the silence in the house would be filled with happy memories. One day, at the bustling village market, Kofi passed the stall of Mama Ada. She was an old woman with eyes that saw more than just the yams and fabrics people came to buy. She saw the heavy sadness that Kofi carried with his uncle's shopping basket. "Kofi, my child," she called in a voice as warm as sunshine. Mama Ada gave Kofi a piece of sweet, juicy mango. "What is that your hands are always busy with in your pocket?" she asked. Shyly, Kofi pulled out his newest creation, a tiny lion with a magnificent mane. Mama Ada took it and held it in her palm, as if it were a precious jewel. "Ah," she breathed, her eyes twinkling. "You have your father's hands. I remember when he was no older than you, carving toys for all the children in the village. He could make wood sing." A tear welled in Kofi's eye, but it was a tear of pride, not sadness. Later, Mama Ada saw Uncle Kwame buying seeds. She walked over to him, her steps slow but purposeful. "Kwame," she said, her voice soft but firm, "I saw your nephew today." Kwame just grunted, not looking at her. "The boy has his father's hands," Mama Ada continued. "He carves just like your brother did. Do you remember the little wooden goat he made for you after you fell from the mango tree? You kept it for years." For the first time, the hardness in Uncle Kwame's face flickered. A memory was stirring. That evening, when Uncle Kwame came home, he found Kofi sitting on the steps, carving a new animal. He stopped in the doorway. He watched the boy's hands, so sure and careful, and in them, he didn't just see a nephew. He saw his brother, sitting right there beside him, just as they had as children. Uncle Kwame walked over and sat down on the step next to Kofi. He didn't say anything for a long time. Then, he pointed a finger at the carving. "The ears are wrong," he said, his voice rough, but without the usual anger. "Your father always made them too small at first. Here, let me show you." It was not a hug, and it was not an apology, but for Kofi, it was everything.